It was supposed to be his moment, his big break. He stepped onto the brightly lit stage, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. The air was thick with anticipation. In his hands he clutched the instrument that was his voice, his soul a sleek, dark violin. But as the spotlight hit him, a wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd. Then the murmurs swelled into something ugly. A chorus of boos, disdainful shouts. You could see their faces, twisted in judgment before he'd even played a single note. They saw his skin, his dreadlocks, his street-style clothes, and they decided he didn't belong. He wasn't one of them. He wasn't classical enough. He wasn't what they expected. For a split second, his world froze. The weight of their rejection was a physical blow, threatening to shatter his composure. Every doubt he'd ever had, every voice that told him he wasn't good enough, screamed in his ears. He could have walked off, could have let their prejudice win. His hands trembled, the smooth wood of the violin suddenly feeling foreign and heavy. He closed his eyes, took a deep, shuddering breath, and thought of his grandmother. She was the one who first placed a violin in his hands, who saw the music inside him when no one else did. "Your music," she'd always say, "it's a bridge. It can connect souls, even the ones that seem miles apart. Don't you ever let them silence you." Her voice echoed in his memory, a beacon in the storm of negativity. He opened his eyes, but this time he didn't see the scowling faces. He saw the stage, the lights, the opportunity he had fought so hard for. He lifted the violin to his shoulder, the familiar weight now a comfort, an extension of himself. He raised his bow, and a hush fell over the auditorium, a silence born not of respect but of confused curiosity. What was he going to do? What could he possibly do? And then he played. The first note that soared from his violin wasn't classical. It wasn't what they were prepared for. It was raw, a gut-wrenching cry that sliced through the tension in the room. It was a sound full of the pain of their rejection, but it was also filled with an unyielding strength. He poured every ounce of his frustration, his anger, and his hope into that single, sustained note. It held for a moment that felt like an eternity, and then it broke. It broke into a cascade of sound that was a fusion of worlds. He blended the soulful, intricate melodies of classical violin with the powerful driving rhythm of hip-hop. The bow danced across the strings, a blur of motion, creating a soundscape no one in that hall had ever imagined. He made the violin sing, cry, and shout. He plucked the strings to create a beat, then seamlessly transitioned into a melody so beautiful, so heart-achingly pure, it seemed to hang in the air like dust motes in a sunbeam. It was a musical story, his story. A story of struggle, of passion, of refusing to be put in a box. 30 seconds. That's all it took. The booing had long since died. The scoffs were replaced by open-mouthed astonishment. 30 seconds in, and the first person started to stand up. Just one man in the middle of the crowd, his face streaked with tears. He started clapping, a solitary sound in the mesmerizing music. But then another person stood, and another. It was a wave spreading through the audience as the power of his music washed over them. They weren't just listening anymore, they were feeling. They felt his journey, his defiance, his triumphant spirit. By the time he reached the crescendo of his piece, the entire auditorium was on its feet. The applause was deafening, a roar of approval and apology all at once. The faces that had been twisted in scorn were now illuminated with awe, many of them wet with tears. They weren't just crying for the beauty of the music, they were crying for their own prejudice, for the lesson he had just taught them without saying a single word. He showed them that talent has no color, no dress code, no single definition. It simply is. When the final note faded into silence, the room was electric. He stood there, chest heaving, sweat beading on his forehead, looking out at the sea of faces. He hadn't just played a song, he had changed minds. It built a bridge, just like his grandmother said he would. In that moment, he wasn't the outsider they booed. He was the artist they revered. He proved that the most powerful response to prejudice isn't anger or retreat, but unapologetic, brilliant talent. This story reminds us to never judge a book by its cover, because sometimes the most unexpected covers hold the most beautiful stories. Let your talent be your voice, and let it be heard. Thank you for watching, and if this story moved you, please like and subscribe for more.